my name is Brianna Rodriguez. It is April 7th of 2019. I will be going over the overview of the axial and the appendicular skeleton. I'm going to start off with the anterior surface of the skull. And so first we're going to look at the frontal, which is here, nasal, ethmoid, lacrimal, sphenoid, vomer, maxilla, zygomatic, and the mandible. And then we're going to go over to the posterior surface of the skull, where we have the mandible still visual, the parietal, which is on both sides of the skull, the occipital, which is in the back of the skull, and the temporal, which is on the side of the skull. And then we'll do the lateral view of the skull, which is still visible with the parietal, the ethmoid, the nasal, the frontal, the lacrimal, which is right in front of the ethmoid, the temporal, the mandible, the maxilla, and the zygomatic, and also the occipital in the back. Okay, and then we're going to do the inferior portion once again, which we can still see the ethmoid. Oops, sorry, go this way. The ethmoid, the frontal, the parietal, the occipital, and the temporal. Okay, then we're going to go to the vertebral column of the skeleton. And first I'm going to show the atlas, which is right under the skull, and this is where the neck is controlled, neck movement and function. On the top is the atlas, and that sits into the axis to help the neck turn left and right. And this portion of the vertebral column is called the cervical vertebrae. The middle of the back is called the thoracic vertebrae, and the lower portion is called the lumbar vertebrae. Right below it is the sacrum, and the very end point is called the coccyx. We're going to turn back around and talk about the thoracic cage. This is the body of the sternum, the manubrium of the sternum. These are the true ribs. These are the false down below, and they're called false because these last three do not connect back to the body of the sternum. Then down here, these are called the floating ribs because they do not wrap all the way around. They kind of just float onto the vertebrae. Okay, and then we're going to go to the appendicular limbs of the body. We're going to start with the upper limbs. Right here is the clavicle, And right behind it is the scapula. This is the humerus. Right here is the ulna, and on the lateral is the radius. And then we're going to come to the hand and wrist, starting from the outer, where the thumb is. Right here is the trapezium. The trapezoid, capitate, hamate, pisiform, trichotrum, lunate, and scaphoid. And then these are considered the metacarpals, which is the first bones that you see reaching out to the phalanges. And the very top are the phalanges. And this knuckle right on the thumb is called the sesamoid. Okay, next we are going to go to the lower limbs of the skeleton. We're going to start off with the pelvic region of the body. It's called the pelvic girdle. And this area right here is called the ischium. This is inside is called the ilium. This is the pubic bone. And then right below it articulates with the femur, patella, then the tibia and fibula, and then coming down to the foot and ankle. We have the talus, nuvicular, cuboid, and then here we have the medial cuneiform, intermediate cuneiform, and the lateral cuneiform. And then again goes to the metatarsals and the phalanges. And this will conclude my week 5 of the axial and the appendicular skeleton. Thank you.